Coming up on the Empowered Woman podcast.
We educate CFOs who are making a decision on budget on benefits. We educate HR because they're making benefits decisions every year, and we want to make sure that they get each qualified program at the table from their broker consultant. And then we educate brokers and agencies on what we do in the market and how we can help them add their value and continue to maintain their consultative approach with their group and not lose access to service their group.
Welcome to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on visibility strategies for women entrepreneurs. If you want to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more to make an impact with your voice and business, you're in the right place. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Marcia Spurk, and I'm your host, professional singer and visibility strategist. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode. Ever wonder how one person can truly make an impact on the world? Tune into the Angel Next Door podcast, where we demystify early stage investing, share inspiring investor and founder stories, and explore how you can do good while doing well. New episodes drop weekly. Join us and start your journey toward meaningful change today. Hi, Brandy. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Marta. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. I'm super excited to hear from you and all the amazing things you've done as an entrepreneur with your business and helping other businesses. It's some amazing stuff while juggling all of the other things as we usually do. So tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Brandy Burch. I'm CEO at Benefit Bay, and we are revolutionizing employee benefits by allowing personal choice. So we're a software technology program out there in the market, serving the national footprint in America.
I love that. I love how succinct that is, but now we're going to have to unpack it all because I'm super curious about the story behind it. How does one get to start a business like that? What's the backstory?
Yeah, the backstory is I really didn't start the business in April of 2021. I became part of the co-founding team, and I was the VP of operations, did a little bit of finance, did a little bit of HR, a little bit of ops. And our CEO left the organization, so I was moved into the CEO seat a year into the founding journey of this team. So I became what was once a colleague of my other VPs to become their boss and be the CEO of the company. And that was my journey here. I was always passionate about the space, though, and had joined to be part of the co-founding team to help build it. I just became a little more elevated after a year into the organization.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. How was that? Was that something that you had kind of hoped for, expected, or was it totally unexpected and you're like, no, I'm gonna have to do this and I got this?
Yeah, no, not something I'd ever really even gunned for. I know it's something that a lot of people look to achieve is entrepreneurship or CEO
Yep.
or being at that top seat. I'd really enjoyed the operator seat, the COO, the CFO, the HR. I enjoyed that team level collaboration and being a part of it and putting the CEO's vision into place. And so this was a real stretch for me. And it was okay, well, I guess I'm going to do this because I was asked to, and it was a great opportunity. And I think it was one of those things where a lot of times we may not believe we are capable of something, and someone has to see it in us and
Yes.
put us under the fire for us to see what we're made of. And that's what it turned out to be.
That is so true. And aren't you glad you said yes? Because many
I
people,
am glad I said yes. I mostly said yes because I cared about the team and I didn't want us to fail.
that's a
And then now I'm really glad I said yes. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, and I know you have a personal life. How was that juggling being a mom, and all of a sudden you're CEO?
I think that was the hardest part. I was actually, when I took the call, I was at a volleyball tournament in Reno, Nevada with my twins. They had played high-level USA volleyball at the time, and I'd taken the day off, and I was at a volleyball tournament, and I found out the news that my world would be turning upside down, and in a positive way, but also in an anxious way
Yeah.
of how do I do this, and what do I need to do, and how do I make it work, and then think about the kids and the family, and just what it would take, because being in the top seat is a little more pressure than being in the second seat, and it's all the buck stop with you. And I think that was a bit stressful, full of anxiety, all the things that you can think of. And I just started putting plans together, pen to paper, one step at a time, each day. Yeah.
Step at a time. Tell me more about the business then. What is the vision for this? And has it changed from when you were not CEO to then stepping into it? What were some of the things that you implemented? I want to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, so one thing that has stayed tried and true is our market focus is the broker. And we believe the broker has value in this space and that they have the consultative approach and know their employer best. And so that's stayed the same between Zach and I. And Zach being a prior broker, that was his vision. And I believe in his vision because I've always purchased benefits from a broker and built relationships with that consultative approach as the CFO in my seats. The one thing that has changed is we've moved upstream. Zach was very focused on the SMB market, the under 50 life market, the small startup companies, the companies that couldn't afford to offer benefits, that could possibly maximize subsidy eligible programs. We have shifted away from that model because although the broker channel was the right model, the under 50 life group was not necessarily the employers that brokers were servicing. So we were kind of misfitting. We were saying, let's go through the broker channel and then let's go after a market that the brokers don't necessarily service. So we shifted to go after the market that the brokers service. And that has been pivotal for us, is to move to those larger employers, those employers that are having all types of complex challenges and being able to solve those. There were less people in the market servicing those larger employers. There were a lot of technology providers serving the under 50 market. So we also differentiated ourselves in that pivotal shift there.
I love that. And how have you challenged the traditional way, even if there weren't a whole lot of people servicing this particular group? How have you done it differently?
Yeah, so we've done it full circle. We come at it from a lot of angles. We educate CFOs who are making a decision on budget on benefits. We educate HR because they're making benefits decisions every year, and we want to make sure that they get each qualified program at the table from their broker consultant. And then we educate brokers and agencies on what we do in the market and how we can help them add their value and continue to maintain their consultative approach with their group and not lose access to service their group. So we do a little bit of everything, and we just try to tackle it from all angles. And then if we do make a relationship with a CFO or an HR, then we ask them to introduce us to their broker. And so the full cycle just either comes from this side or that side of the journey, but we always work with the broker at the table.
I love that. And when you're talking about relationships, I'd love to hear some stories that pop to mind about how this has been helpful for the company culture and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's been pretty exciting to watch the early adopters in this space. They have been companies that are 3 to 500 lives of employees, and they've year after year faced budgetary challenges with their benefits programs for one reason or another. And then they make the decision to go to personal choice and individual coverage health reimbursement arrangements, and they're able to increase compensation, add to their head count, add additional voluntary products or ancillary products for their team. So that happiness factor within their culture is able to improve. And then they're empowering individuals to really care about their health. So then wellness engagement, when you feel a bit like a victim and you're just going to get the health plan you're given and you don't get to make a choice and you don't have any say in how much it's going to cost you, it's easier to let yourself off the hook. But if you get to make those choices and you start to understand benefits programs, maybe you'll care a little bit about what's driving healthcare cost up. So I think that that's the overall relationship of what it's doing. I think for us, for me especially, because we lost our CEO 1 year in, he had already sold some of the relationships, and it was pivotal for me to go build relationships with those people and ensure that we retained those customers. And I think those are my proudest points, as what I did was dug in deep. I'm an accountant by nature, so not as much extroverted. I'm not as much sales focused. I hadn't had those skills. So I flew in to visit our customers. I listened to them. I built relationships, and those relationships are still here from 2021. So that is retention. That is showing up year after year, day after day, improving, hearing, doing things. And I think that that's probably the thing I'm most proud about is my stretch in relationship building. A
Yeah.
relationship with a bank to build capital or a relationship to build with your sales client is completely different.
Right.
Yeah.
That is so awesome to hear, and I think it'll be very encouraging for people out there who are maybe discouraged with their own business or maybe put in a position where, like I said, aren't you glad you said yes? Because sometimes we get these huge opportunities and we just don't feel like we're up for the task and we say no, as opposed to, you know
Or
what?
we're scared and
Yeah,
we say no.
exactly.
Yeah, we're scared and we say no, or we make our excuses of there's no way I could do this. And so
Yeah.
we let ourselves off the hook, and that opportunity is maybe that pivotal growth we needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I thought of is you're working on this with other businesses. And I just learned this expression because I'm from Brazil. So sometimes expressions come in Portuguese and I'm like, how do you say this in English? And somebody says, if you say cobbler shoes, people will know what you mean. So
Yeah.
cobbler
Yeah.
shoes has working, having a business that helps other businesses with their employees. Has that been helpful for your business, or is that sometimes a little challenging to implement those things in your own business? I just got curious.
Yeah. So we do have ICHRA in our own business. So our own employees have personal choice. So they're passionate about that.
Mm.
Early on, we didn't. So I do believe in not driving cost up for a population.
Huh?
And early on, we were only seated in Kansas, Missouri, and Nebraska for employee population. And ICHRA, or individual family products, are more expensive in those three markets. So why would we choose ICHRA for our employees if it is going to drive up costs for us as a small startup with a limited budget, right? We would look in our tool, which is the tool we sell to others, to see, does it make my benefits program a better program for my employees or not? For 2 years in a row, the answer was no. And so we were on a small group product, but our employees were saying, this is ridiculous. We need to drink our own champagne, right? We need to be doing the thing we're doing for everyone else.
Yeah.
And once we had employees seated in 16 states
Mm.
nationally, then it was cheaper to move with individual coverage, health reimbursement arrangement. And we did. So as soon as it made a budget shift,
Uh-huh.
albeit small, it was $1,500 a month difference.
Yeah.
We made the shift to personalized choice because our team wanted it and they deserved it. And our team, it really excites me that our team, even seated in little states, have 8 different carriers, right? And the things that matter to them. And I mean, at least you're giving them the opportunity to see what we do live in action, and then see the pain points that maybe the customer experiences or what they feel when employees have to understand on that side. But I think that it's interesting because in startup world, sometimes people say something matches for everyone or it's the best idea for everyone. That's never really true. That's a sales talk.
Yeah.
You need to be able to have someone who's evaluating your benefits program with integrity and putting the right thing in place for your population. What's right for you is not the same for that's right for someone else. It's going to depend on those belly buttons or heartbeats we say inside that overall company. Yeah.
Oh, what a great testament of how well the system works because you've applied it to your own business and then
Yep.
saw it grow, right? And that is amazing. What are some client stories that you have, maybe similar to that or completely different, that have stood out throughout the years of you've seen the growth and you've seen how helping them in this way? Hey, let me ask you a question. Would you like to be my next guest on the Empowered Woman podcast? Do you have a story you'd like to share? Want more visibility for your business on a show ranked in the top 0.5% in the world? Well, then head on over to martasburke.com/podcast guest for more information.
Yeah, I think the ones that really mean the most to me are when you have a population of employees that are compensated in varying ways. So you have employees who are what are considered more service-based, that are in lower income opportunities, and maybe their salaries range from 30 to 60K a year. And then you have employees who are in the middle of that, and then you have highly compensated. Traditionally, the highly compensated are making the decision, and they're going to pick a high deductible plan, and they're going to pick an HSA, and they're going to defer compensation to their HSA card because they can afford to do so. They are going to leave those that are 40 to 60K a year in effect uninsured because they don't have the money to defer onto their HSA card. They don't have the money to meet a deductible, and they really can't afford to get their child to the doctor for $165 a visit. And so people don't go and seek medical care. And what we have seen is, like, our support team has listened to calls where people are crying because they've saved a car payment, or they've been able to get access to some prescription that has been really costing them so much per month, and they've been limiting how much they take and cutting pills in half, and just improving actual access is what has made me the most happy. But also building relationships with CFOs and HRs who had compounded rate increases for year after year, and they had to make cuts in their team to absorb it. The money comes from somewhere. If cost goes up, we don't like to talk about it, but someone behind that leadership door has to make a decision. Either we're not hiring more people, we're going to ask more of the current people, we're going to cut bonuses, we're going to do something, because the money has to come from somewhere. So hearing the stories of how we impacted companies to unlock those things and to be in better financial situations, that's what motivates me, and that's what gets me most excited. Those case studies, like we save $2 million a year. What can you do with that 2 million? When it's a non-for-profit, they are so excited about extending their mission, right? Yeah.
That's wonderful. I love that. Well, one aspect about the company that I would love for us to discuss is the fact that it's a remote first company. Has
Yep.
it always been like that? Tell us more, that it's such an interesting concept to carry through and also to keep employees motivated.
Yeah. So year one, Zach had us in a physical office in Omaha. I was in Kansas City, so I would drive up often and stay in Omaha for the week, work, be away from my family. But the team members were mostly segregated into Omaha so that they could come into the physical office. One of the key pivotal shifts I made was we closed the office. And closing the office and moving to a remote strategy was important because, number one, we were on a limited budget. Number two, I believe it's the way to recruit in this generation. And I think people are asking for work-life integration. I personally started to see that I needed an office once in a while because I was meeting people in coffee shops, or investors were flying in to see me, and I'm like, well, let's meet at this loud coffee shop and talk all my business secrets.
Mhm.
And so I co-work out of a space downtown Kansas City, and our team that's located in driving distance can, if they want, come to one of these spaces and work with other startups in this little ecosystem. I like that. But from a remote first capacity, I'm still in my basement in Kansas City most days. I only come into the remote office if I have a meeting, and I had a meeting this morning. And so those are the times that I actually get out of the house. But from a remote first culture, we try to do things like get our team together once a year. We come together once a year in Kansas City. We do fun activities. We also do strategic activities and setting and cross team pollination and product work and discovery. And that keeps us connected enough to go back to our, remote homes, wherever they are, and just connect virtually all the time. We tend to do it right after our busiest season every year. We do it in first quarter because that season stretches us. We may get to a place where maybe we don't always love the way we have to work with our teammates, and so we need to get back, reconnect, realize we all like each other, we have a great time together, and kick the next year in high gear. And so we do that, and then we do once a month. It's the second Thursday of every month. We do an all hands. We make sure we're staying connected, make sure the communication's not getting lost, anything that's really important. We do fun, virtual breakout rooms and cross-pollination when we can, little contests, things like that. And then when we can in various communities, we do something that makes a difference in that community or for someone so that we can get little pockets together. We have a little pocket in Kansas City, a little pocket in Omaha still, and then the rest of the employees are kind of one-offs in Colorado or Texas and Oklahoma and Florida, and several have moved. They started in Kansas City or Omaha and they moved somewhere else. And with remote work, they have the luxury of doing that, and I love that. And then we have multiple time zones, which is great because our customers are on multiple time zones. So now I'm not stretching someone's time. They're actually working what works with their schedule, and now they're available for our clients. And all of that just works in harmony, and I love it.
Oh my gosh, that is so amazing. And that's got a woman's touch all over it.
Yeah, it does.
Right?
Because we have work-life integration juggles. Yep.
Exactly. And with you being a mom, so you said you have twins. Do you have more kids? How old are they?
Yes, I have 6 girls in total.
Oh my gosh.
They range in age from 30 down to age 11. My twins were my fourth pregnancy, so they are number 4 and 5. And then I have a caboose that's 11. So I was talking with someone this morning at coffee. My oldest child was born in 1994. My youngest child was born in 2012. So I had children over a span of generations. generations. We were talking about social media and how my older kids didn't really have that. And they had flip phones, right?
Yeah.
They were of the yeah, they were born in the 90s. And it's, raising children has been an evolution. Building teams has been an evolution, right? The tools that we've had have improved or they've brought in challenges. And, we're all dealing with AI right now. So, yes,
Yeah.
there's opportunity and there's challenges. Done irresponsibly, then you end up with UHCs having a claims denial crisis with an AI tool. So we've got to put those tools in place after well thought out, QA'd processes, because you take out the human touch and you could put humans at risk.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. What an inspiring story you have in
So
jumping right in and making all of these changes and helping so many businesses, including your own.
it was hard. I don't want to say it wasn't hard. So don't discourage anyone out there. If it's hard, just keep going every day, take the positive actions, and it's going to yield the results because it is hard.
Definitely. So that's exactly what I was going to ask you. What is the main message, that you want to carry through, obviously, with the employee benefits and helping companies with that. And then you have the work-life balance and how you've been able to integrate that. What is the main thing you're wanting to be like, shout from the rooftops?
Yeah, I want to shout from the rooftops to employees that how we infect change in our benefits that a lot of us are unhappy with is getting engaged in the process. And I want to say that to HR as well. So I know a lot of us are unhappy with how it currently works and how expensive it has become and how it feels to be the end consumer of that product. And how we're going to affect change is getting involved, getting empowered, understanding it, making the decisions ourselves, having an ability to have choice, brand loyalty, carrier affiliate, researching your carriers, doing business with carriers who actually care about the human heartbeats that they service. And until we all get there and we want to be in the benefits game of understanding our own health, we won't make it better. So processing this change is something we need to do. It's the last area of our lives that we are not taking control of, and we need to. And it's going to affect positive change. That's what I want to shout from the rooftop. Separate, I want to say you can be anything you want to be. And sometimes maybe we hold ourselves back because we have all of those things, all of those fears, all of those negative mindset pieces that get to us when we raise higher and higher and higher and challenge ourselves more. Just go for it. I wouldn't have gone for it if I wouldn't have been pushed and backed against the wall. But I think it's just a motivation for me to say other people are probably more capable than they believe, and they wouldn't step into that until they were forced into it. So maybe hopefully more people do it. And I think with women, we're the ones who keep us from the opportunity. It's not that we can't do it. We think about our family and the 10 other reasons why we shouldn't, or we're undeserving, and we just don't go for that next role. It's not that people are keeping it from us. We're sometimes keeping it from ourselves.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is so good and so encouraging. I do want to ask more specifically. So we talked about a little bit about how you help companies. Can you tell us the website and also how can people find more information for somebody listening? If how many employees they have, like how could this
Yeah.
benefit somebody that's listening and we don't know what kind of business they have?
Yeah. So any size business can work for ICHRA. I want to take that misnomer out. And it's really about evaluating your population and the cost based on where your humans are seated and their age and their zip code. I mean, that's really what it is. It takes 2 seconds in our tech to put that information in and get your quote. So we're happy to do that for free. We will ask you to introduce us to your broker. We are going to work that full cycle. We're not going to work direct with the employer without their broker at the table. And so they would go to sales@benefitbay.com, or they would go to benefitbay.com and say, learn more, any one of those ways to get to us. And then our team is going to help them evaluate if ICHRA is the right idea for them. Maybe their benefits have just been purchased. They've just gone through that this year. They can still take a look. It's never too late for next year, so that they can know this is something I want to do. They can have a well thought out approach of educating their employees for what's coming and personal choices coming, and take a look at what works in your geographic region for you and what's going to cover the things that matter to you. We have things like preview plans that can be done well before, so all the employees can be getting excited about this. And so those types of things I would highly recommend for someone who wants to take a look.
Okay, awesome. So you can just go to
Yeah.
brandyburch.com and I'll have the
Yeah.
links in the show notes as well. Well, before we wrap up and you tell us how people can connect with you personally, I like to ask my $1 million question, which I think you kind of already did, but I'll have to formally ask because it's part of the show. Are you
Yep.
ready?
Yes.
Brandy, what is an empowered woman then?
An empowered woman is someone who steps into the opportunities that they have in front of them and goes into that with courage and faces it and learns her strength. Yeah.
I love it. So good. Very good. Succinct way of
Thank you.
saying your
Yes.
message from the rooftop. So good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Yeah.
How can people connect with you? Do you hang out anywhere on social media, LinkedIn, or anything like
I
that?
don't. I'm fairly active on LinkedIn, but I'm not the best at doing this whole social media thing. I'm getting better. So I have a LinkedIn, Brandy Burch. You can find me because it says founder at Benefit Bay. You can find me on Twitter at Brandy Burch CEO. I'm not as active, but I do post anything I have contributed to from an article perspective. And once in a while, I might make a tweet. And then if you wanted to connect with me direct because you're a woman seeking mentorship or you're wanting to take your entrepreneur journey, it's brandy.burch@benefitbay.com. So,
I'll make sure and have that
yeah.
in the show notes. Well, thank you so much for the amazing work you're doing. Congratulations on all your success. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Marta.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.